So who wrote the nation's favourite love poem? The answer is Elizabeth Barrett Browning.
That's right, 19th century poet Elizabeth Barrett Browning topped a BBC poll of the nation's, find the nation's favourite love poem for her verse, How Do I Love Thee? Let me count the ways. Can I just say, I loathe that poem. It's the wettest, wettest poem ever. Makes me gag. Now, sorry, calm. In the last part of this morning's show, we're going to get your thoughts on love poems. Are they the sweetest thing or toe-curlingly naff? Richard, Mark and Gail's thoughts in a mo. Yours too on the usual number, 0207 173 5555. Are love poems for losers? Well, not according to the new Mrs. Lineker. Danielle Lux, whatever it is, who married the millionaire in Italy last month. She told The Sun how her husband showered her with a string of romantic rhymes. Lineker apparently composes his verses between making dinner and doing the dishes. Jimmy Hill is what I say. Tell me another. American psychologists found blokes who make the effort to pen verses of love will be rewarded. Why? How? Well, because women respond to language, they fall in love with their ears. Men, on the other hand, prefer a nice rack because we fall in love with our eyes. So, men can charm a woman's knickers off with a poem, but if I was you girls, I wouldn't bother. Just get your yayas out, yeah? Pollsters found only one in five of us write love poems these days, but 1 in 3 would write a song. But for me, a song is a poem. It's the same thing. But in this digital age, isn't it better to forget all about pen and ink or crooning with a guitar? Just send a text or a tweet, Richard.
Well, you know, I think I'm a writer, and language is very important. And I think you can, whatever way you want to express yourself, I think by expressing yourself is the best way to make someone understand that you like. I think you've got to feel it. I have written poems as an adult. I used to write poetry as very embarrassing poetry as a kid, and I have written poems for girls as an adult, but you've got to feel it. I think sometimes you get kind of wrapped up in, you know, you fall so heavily for someone, and that's the way you want to express yourself. And I've, you know, and I have...
find you having to stop yourself doing it because you know that by the time you send the poem that you're going to look.
I think there's that, but you get into, you know, you are aware of that, but you get into that spiral where you're so into someone that you kind of, you don't even care, you know, you're so besotted, and that's the way you express it. And I think, you know, there was one girl that I wrote loads of poems for, and I was a little bit too into her, but she did, you know, she wasn't sure about me, but then actually
standing outside the door hour after
but then the poems actually did the trick, to be honest. So yeah, so because you've spent, you know, they know if you write a decent poem, you spent some time doing it. It means you've been thinking of that person, and you know, who wouldn't like that? No. I did. No, it was like a real meteorite of a relationship, you know. But but I was wrapped up in it. But my current girlfriend, I did, you know, I was writing stuff about her, and I actually didn't show her till a year into the relationship, you know. But you're moved by someone, and you end up writing. But I think that's a massive compliment.
You write them, do you?
I do every now and then. I must admit, I haven't written one recently, so I actually wrote one for Kath.
Go on.
Because she likes when you know, you've got to know your audience. I love you, Kath. I love you much. Your hair, your smile, your brain and bum, and such and such and such.
Elizabeth Browning.
She loves that. She'll love that. I do write longer ones, but there's a little green. It's good fun. They're nice things, because poetry is the daggiest form of literature. You can say whatever you like in a poem, and it can be naff, whatever, but you're allowed to. It's what poetry is.
Poetry is what brings us closer to God. That was the sort of Renaissance idea. It enables you to communicate outside the confines of tedious regular prose. Which is, you know, so there is a higher goal there, but men aren't interested in higher goals anymore. They want lower knickers, isn't they? So why
are you looking at me like that?
Well, I'm not going to look at these two and say I want to see lower knickers, am I?
These two?
Yeah.
I'll take my
poem did allude to everything. It does allude to everything that might happen within a relationship.
Gail, love poems? You like them?
I've never had one, so I don't know. I got a really rude one once, though, because then my dad went round to the guy's house and then just had a wee word with him, because it said, came round to my door, it went, I love you, Gail. I think you're fit. I love you, Gail. You've got great features. Features. Yeah, so my dad went round and sorted him out. That's the only poem I've ever had.
Never write Gail a poem, yeah. You get a lot of trouble with her dad. What about you? At home, let's find out.
We have John on line too.
John, good morning.
Good morning.
Are you a poet?
No, not really. Still,
Well, why are you phoning the show if you're not a poet?
well, what it says is 17 years ago I met the wife, and I already had 4 kids by a previous marriage.
Right.
And I nearly lost her about 3 years ago.
Oh.
And went through septicemia and open heart surgery. So I wrote poems to her in hospital while she was in hospital, and she keeps writing me, and we've done it ever since.
Oh, now that is very sweet. That is totally unlike me. That's sensitive and caring and devoted, devotional. Nice one, thank you. What about our audience, Eric?
OK, well, next to me is Marie. She wants to sit on my knee. Her hat is pink, her bottom stinks, and she's got an opinion which we all see.
Slap him, slap him, I would.
I just made that up as well. so I love...
I have one for you.
You got what?
Oh, Matthew, right. You are so bright. A shining light. You light my life.
Oh, I thought you were going to say, pull down my tights. But we don't...
I thought she was going to say you do talk... No, move on.
Thank heavens you didn't on daytime telly. I think that's probably enough cheesy rhymes for now, do we think? Yeah? I hope so. Well, that is basically all we have time for this morning. Ooh, sad, isn't it? Goes so quick. Thank you very much, folks, for all the calls, the emails and the tweets. And thank you, too, as well, Richard, especially as one of his tweets this morning was, I'm on the right stuff on Channel 5 today. I'm a bit tired. I might try and hide and say nothing. That didn't go so well. Don't forget his show. It's called As It Occurs to Me. It's on at the Leicester Square Theatre. It's every Monday till the 14th of December. And don't forget the free podcast as well. You can get it on iTunes, is that right? Yeah. Nice to get something for free. Yeah. Gavin Mark will see you tomorrow.
Good, mate. Looking forward to it.
Give it up for our wonderful panel, ladies and gentlemen.